just wow. The All Elite Wrestling Rally was almost a week ago at this point, and yet the impact that it had on both myself and the wrestling community was absolutely incredible. The Double or Nothing ticket rally gave us a whole bunch of surprises. It gave us some new members of the AEW roster. It gave us the pre-sale code for tickets. It gave us the first matchups for Double or Nothing. It literally gave us a little bit of everything. So on this episode of the 2 Count, I'm flying solo. I tried to wait for Dave. I tried to wait for Kyle. I waited long enough. The time is over. It is time for us to kick out and really start talking about what we saw at the All Elite Wrestling Rally. But before we do that, I'm going to ask you to please like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're asking you guys to kick out with us and have these conversations on a weekly basis. So let's start at the beginning of the AEW rally. We get there. We've got a little bit of a pre-show, which was pretty interesting. Conrad, Excalibur, I'm not sure who the other guy was, show up. They really give us a little bit of a preview of what's to come during the show. They talk about maybe some of the surprises. MJF shows up, calls Conrad turkey tits. By the way, I will put it right here. ProWrestlingTees.com launched the first MJF t-shirt for AEW today. I can promise you that it is not one that I will be buying because I'm not the biggest MJF fan, but I did get the hoodie that they have. So, sorry Ryan, at least I got one of them for you. Anyway, so the rally starts off and we get introduced to our first rather unique superstar. And this superstar has caused a lot of controversy since the rally. A lot of people talking negatively about him. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw I had quite a bit of a rant about that negativity. I'll cover that briefly here. But the first superstar that we are shown is Sonny Kiss. Now, to all of you who are unfamiliar with Sonny Kiss wrestles in a lot of matches in the independent scene, and this is something that we knew that Cody and the Bucks were doing. They're going around trying to find young, independent talent to develop. So the first person that we see is Sonny Kiss. Now, I know Sonny Kiss is probably unknown to a lot of you. He's very well known to me. Sonny Kiss wrestles here in Staten Island at my local independent promotion called Warriors of Wrestling. He is here every month wrestling. Now, Sonny Kiss has quite the flamboyant character. He does a lot of interesting things in the ring, both from a performance perspective and a character perspective. He is an openly gay man. He's kind of flamboyant in the character, which is fine. And you know what? I live in Staten Island, New York. Every stereotype that you see about Staten Island, New York is 100% true. Well, not 100% true. There's always exceptions, myself included. But a lot of the guys I did grow up with, Jersey Shore, made in Staten Island, that's really how they work. So normally they're not accepting of new things, but when Sonny Kiss comes out, man, I gotta tell you, the whole crowd goes crazy. Sonny has absolutely won over the crowd. And I was really disturbed over this past week going around, looking at all the comments on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. I don't know if you guys noticed, but if any of you have ever tweeted me, have added me, I always do my best to make sure I get back to everybody. And everything that I'm seeing is absolutely absurd. There are so many people speaking out against Sonny Kiss. Let me tell you something. Talent speaks for itself. Talent rises above all, right? We live in a world where hate should no longer dictate the conversation. If you're going to hate on Sonny Kiss because of his sexuality, if you're going to hate on him because of his character or because who he is as a person, you know, I really have got nothing to say to you. At the end of the day, the guy has a lot of talent. Obviously, Cody and Brandy and the Bucks believe in that talent, and he's getting a shot to be a part of the All Elite Wrestling roster, and I'm really happy about that. I think he's going to be an amazing addition. Speaking of which, I actually think I know the moment where this all dates back to. About 6 months ago, I went to a signing at Warriors of Wrestling, and Brandy Rhodes was there. I got to meet Brandy, absolute sweetheart of a person. At the end of the day, she was nothing but nice to me and my wife. My wife bought Nightmare Queen t-shirt, Mrs. Nightmare t-shirt, sorry, and we had a great conversation with her. She was hysterical. I'm willing to bet you that that is the exact night where Sonny and Brandy met. And, you know, at that point, obviously I didn't know AEW was coming. I didn't know about anything. But lo and behold, the conference opens up. You hear some pretty interesting music. Out comes Sonny Kiss. Sonny, unfortunately, is not very good at throwing t-shirts across a pool and got a bunch of them in the water, but outside that, he gave his speech, and he said that he is now going to be a part of Double or Nothing. So within the first 5 minutes, we get our first superstar announced for the roster, a young up-and-comer with a unique personality, which is what this promotion is all about. Look, we're turning undesirable to undeniable, right? Sonny Kiss is someone that you should pay attention to, because I promise you, you're going to admire his in-ring capabilities and work. So after Sonny Kiss comes out, we get, and I'm going through my notes here, so apology. After Sonny Kiss comes out, the next man that we get is the American Nightmare himself, Cody Rhodes. Cody had a little bit, actually a lot less to do in this press conference, whereas last time we saw him 4, 5, 6 times. Cody came out just twice in this whole press conference. One was to hold someone else back, we'll get to that, and once was to announce what he had to announce. So Cody comes out, and he lets everyone know that there is a pre-sale for the All Elite Wrestling tickets for Double or Nothing. That pre-sale has also passed, so now you've got to deal with general admission if you're watching this for the first time. But that pre-sale has passed. I don't know if you guys know, I had a chance to get tickets actually before pre-sale, and I couldn't go because I couldn't find a babysitter. My heart is crushed. Anyway, I wound up spending it on merchandise anyway. So, where is it? Right there. Yeah. So, that being said, Cody comes out and he announces the second of a huge partnership with All Elite Wrestling, and it is with the Mexican promotion AAA. This is tremendous. Well, first off, I believe New Japan and AAA are rivals, so that says a whole lot right there. But it does open up another pool of talent where AEW can swap back and forth from. As they're building out their roster, these partnerships are incredibly important. Remember, most wrestlers or big wrestlers right now, outside of the ones that were, pigeonholed into Lucha Underground and able to break their way out little by little, are locked into longer-term deals. AEW is going to have to build their baseline roster, build some young superstars up, and wait for some of these bigger contracts to expire so that they can plug talent in. Well, we get our partnership with AAA, and we get our first entrance from Cody, and that guy's name is Sammy Guevara. Now, Sammy Guevara is the current AAA Cruiserweight Champion. He is a YouTube highlight machine. If you don't follow him already, follow him on YouTube. So I was unfamiliar with him prior to the AEW rally. I'm sure I'm not alone in that. Maybe I am. But what I did was I went and started YouTubing him after the rally. And what I found was actually a match versus Cody Rhodes, which was pretty good. Sammy's incredibly talented. He fits the style perfectly. And you could tell with the guys that they're selecting that AEW is going to go for a very fast-paced, very Buck style type of match. Maybe a little less Cody and a little bit more Buck style type of match. And I was incredibly excited. He came out, he cut a pretty decent promo where he talked about he's not just the Cruiserweight Champion of AAA, but he is in fact one of the very best wrestlers in the world. And he cannot wait to show all of us that at Double or Nothing. We don't know who his match is going to be with. I'm very curious myself to see who they put him against. But, obviously we have a lot of guys right now whose matches are up in the air. We did get a few match announcements, but we'll see what the overall card looks like when it's all said and done. So, after Sammy walks off the stage, we then get the Hangman t-shirt of the day, folks. We get the Hangman Adam Page coming out. And Hangman says that, he might have spoken prematurely when he called all of us his boss. And then ties himself into the whole thing he's got going on with being the Elite, where Cody told him he's not allowed to show up in full gear. The whole purpose of Hangman coming out was to set us up for his match versus Pac at Double or Nothing. Hangman comes out, he starts talking, he talks just a tiny little bit of shit about Pac, and then all of a sudden we get live via satellite the bastard himself, Pac. Pac cuts a really decent promo here, talking about how he is here to cut out all these elitist bastards. I like the terminology used, elitist bastards, from professional wrestling, how he's here for the gold too. The only line that was kind of interesting was him telling Adam Page that while he stands there with his asshole flapping in the ring, or asshole flaps flapping in the ring, Kind of weird, kind of odd, whatever, dude. Just saying. But the rest of the promo was pretty decent. It does set up the match. He challenges him. Adam Page accepts the challenge. Also informs him that he is not only inferior to him in size in one area, but multiple. And it looks like we've got our first official match for Double or Nothing. It is the Hangman Adam Page versus the Bastard Pac. I'm curious to see how they're going to play out a title situation. It was talked about that Hangman wanted gold. Pac came out talking about being a champion. Maybe Pac will defend his title on the show. I don't know, but it will be a great match. I can guarantee you that those two men will put on a spectacular show. Pac is amazing in the ring to begin with. Adam Page, for his size, is one of the most talented son of a bitches I've ever seen. And I am incredibly excited for that match. I think if we're building a card and you're putting that card on first, you're 100% justified to do that, to put that match on first on a card. And at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a fantastic one. And I think you're going to see Meltzer giving that one 6 stars because that's how good it is. So after Pac appears with that was it. Asshole flapping like a napkin in the wind. I wrote that one down because of how interested it is. All right. So next we get the boys from the Elite, the Young Bucks, come out. And this was the Young Bucks' biggest spot, obviously. They only came out one time. They came out to hype the depth of AEW's tag team division. And guys, I talked about this a little bit with Amy. I talked about this a little bit with Dave when we had our episode last week. But I mean, realistically, AEW's tag team division is off to a start that I can only describe as fire, right? You now have 4 amazing tag teams on the AEW roster. You have SCU, Frankie Kazarian, Scorpio Sky, Christopher Daniels. By the way, they also have a new t-shirt, SCU later. Pretty cool, of course, but a great shirt. They're the first members of the tag team roster outside the Young Bucks. So the next team you've got is obviously Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks. They're not going to make themselves champions all the time as EVPs of the roster. And they needed to add a lot of depth behind themselves to put on great matches. And I think what they've done is they went and got guys that they know around the world can actually really compete with them and put on these fantastic matches to make tag team wrestling a main event scenario. What I learned about All In is that no one wants to go on after the Young Bucks. So the Young Bucks are in a lot of cases going to have to put themselves in the main event, and the main event here might actually be coming up shortly. So the next set of people signed were announced as well. They came out. They were the first people to come out, and that would be the Best Friends, Trent Baretta and Chuckie T. What a fantastic signing to the AEW roster. What I love about this is Trent Baretta can absolutely stand on his own as a singles competitor, and they can use him in a singles fashion while also keeping the Best Friends together with Chuckie T and giving them another team that is fully credible and could win tag team titles in any given time. So they came out, they cut a promo, they talked how excited they are to be in AEW. New Japan Pro Wrestling, not too happy about that fact. They had a lot invested into Trent Baretta, and they were grooming him to be one of their next big foreign stars. Not the case though, and he, for our benefit, is part of All Elite Wrestling. The last team comes out dead last in this segment, and that is Pentagon and Rey Fenix. The Lucha Brothers are 100% part of AEW. Just going to take a step back for a second. I've been reading a lot of the publications, looking at a lot of the news going on about the Lucha Brothers. The Lucha Brothers are still somewhat in a struggle with Lucha Underground, so everything that they're booking is a one-off appearance. So they have not officially signed a long-term deal, or at least this is what I've seen through multiple sources. They haven't signed a long-term deal with All Elite Wrestling, but instead they're doing one-off appearances for now. That's fine. As long as ultimately they wind up in AEW, I'm happy because AEW needs them. It gives them 2 amazing single stars in Pentagon and Fenix. And in addition to the 2 amazing single stars, you obviously get the tag team, the Lucha Bros. I'm calling it right now, the Lucha Bros are going to be, if they're locked into a deal with AEW, they will be the first tag team champions. I believe they're probably going to go over the Bucks at Double or Nothing. That's if they're able to, square away all of these contractual details. So the segment comes out. Pentagon and Fenix are there. Pentagon and Fenix lay Matt and Nick Jackson out, hit their finishing moves on Matt and Nick, or at least Pentagon does, and Matt and Nick have to get, kind of carried to the back after the attack by Pentagon and Fenix. So you've got your second match of the card, folks. The second match of Double or Nothing, Pentagon and Fenix versus the Young Bucks. 2 outstanding matches announced so far for this card. So next you get Brandi Rhodes. Brandi comes out to talk about women's wrestling, and this was one of my criticisms leading into the rally. We're several months in, only a few months away from Double or Nothing, but we're several months in to this whole big spiel that the Elite has concocted to get us to Double or Nothing, and we'd only had 3 females, and one of them was kind of like an afterthought because she's someone's manager, but she's an awesome standalone. I'm not knocking her. The 3 females were Penelope Ford, Brandi Rhodes, Britt Baker. Well, Brandi comes out and she informs us that that will no longer be the case. That she promised us a nice competing women's roster, and she has delivered. Now, there's still a couple of things that I think they need, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But I'm going to go over the names that Brandi has given us. So first, they've imported 2 females from Japan. We have Aja Kong, which I have heard a lot about Aja Kong. I'm excited to see her. I have not had a chance to watch her YouTube stuff yet. I got very caught up on Sammy Guevara. But Aja Kong, everything I've heard about is that she's awesome. She's massive. It's going to be cool to see her in the States. And then the other one also I want to do a little bit of watching, Yuka Sasaki. She is supposedly a rising star in Japan, very big. Look, they're going to need these types of people. They're going to need these people that they can bring over from international markets. I'm curious to see if any are going to come from AAA. I'm not sure how much of the female wrestling scene goes on in AAA, but I'm curious to see who comes over. And right now from Japan, you've got Yuka Sasaki and Aja Kong. Then Brandi makes an announcement. We get our first States-born announcement since Britt Baker. And that is Kylie Rae. Kylie Rae comes out in a full coat. People begged her to take her coat off. Interesting. But Kylie Rae comes out in a full coat. Seems like such a sweetheart. Her character is a sweetheart. She's like the Bailey of the Indies, I guess you could say. Very, very sweet, nice, friendly. And it set up a match, what I think is going to be a match at least. And we get Kylie Rae coming out. She talks for a little bit. She was a trainee of Booker T 5 times. She was a trainee of Booker T, so she is the next woman to join the AEW roster exclusively. Well, Kylie's talking, and music hits, and we get our next women's competitor. So if you think about it, in this event so far, we've got, just so far, we've got 2 males, we've got 2 tag teams, and we got 4 women announced for the roster, the 4th being Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose is really significant. So Nyla Rose is actually transgender. She is the first, as far as I know, from the LGBT community that is transgender that will be wrestling professionally within a female division. Again, another thing that I saw way too many people posting negative comments about. Look, I don't care how you feel. This is about wrestling. If the person can put on a good match, so be it, right? Keep personal opinions to yourself. And I will, just keep all that stuff to yourself. There's no need to hate anybody. No one's going to judge anybody. Only person that can judge you is God, and that's it. So we're talking about Nyla Rose. So Nyla comes out. They have a stare down. Things get a little bit heated, and they go to the back, and that's the end of the women's segment. So what I find about the women's division that's concerning so far. I love Brandi. I love Britt Baker. Kylie Rose seems pretty cool. Kylie Rae seems pretty cool. And Nyla Rose has her whole beast thing going on, kind of a little bit in the vein of Nia Jax. You've got the 2 Japanese imports. I love Britt. I love Brandi. I think they need 1 or 2 really established females. The men's division has it. They have Kenny Omega. They have Jericho. They have Cody. They have the Bucks. They have guys that are established on the main scene that bring instant credibility to that roster. While Britt is awesome and so is Brandi, I think they need 1 or 2 really big established names. Someone that comes to mind is maybe like a Gail Kim. If they could go out and get a Gail Kim, she automatically brings a lot of credibility to that roster. If outside of Gail Kim, maybe, I don't know what Allie and Rosemary's contracts look like. Cherry Bomb would be an awesome addition to the roster, but again, she is not where they are. My number one addition would be Tessa Blanchard, and I realize that she's not a Gail Kim and established like that, but she automatically becomes the best woman on the roster. Tessa is that damn good, and I think there's two companies building a roster around her right now. So if they could somehow get their hands on Tessa Blanchard, she ain't nothing to fuck with. She's going to be a fantastic addition. But if not, they're going to need a Gail Kim. They're going to need, maybe they go and get Caitlyn from WWE or Celeste Bonin. Maybe they go and get Summer Rae. But they need someone with, I'm not a big Summer Rae fan from a wrestling standpoint, but the girl works hard in the ring. I would appreciate it if they signed her. They absolutely need someone with that mainstream credibility to lend it to the women's division. And I think those women that I had mentioned do that. But we'll see. We still have a little bit of time. Let's see who else they're going to announce. So after the women's announcements, SCU comes back out. SCU announces that they will be hosting the official after party after Double or Nothing. I forget what it's called. I feel like it has something to do with All In. But SCU is announcing that they're having their after party, and we actually get them to announce a video for OWE. Sorry, there was a little bit of a gap there. I thought I turned that off. Anyway, we get them to announce a video for OWE. We get a little bit of a clip, a little bit of a highlight of the OWE roster, not really showing us who the stars are, but just showing us some of their moves in the ring. And then the OWE stars come to the ring, not the stars, but we get Cima, we get the president of OWE, and we get two other guys from the OED front offices, OWE front offices, and they have a great exchange back and forth. Christopher Daniel talks about his history with Cima, and of course, it leads to the announcement of yet another match on the card. We will be getting SCU versus Cima and two recruits from OWE. I think that's a fantastic idea. You get the young guns of OWE coming in with their established veteran Cima, and then you get the boys of SCU, who everybody loves anyway, so you're getting them integrated in the match. They'll be able to work the style of OWE. I think it's going to be a fantastic match, and it was a good call by Matt and Nick to do that. So before the last announcement, because obviously that's the most groundbreaking one, and you guys already know what it is. Look at this card so far. This card pretty much looks like it's going to be the Bucks versus the Lucha Bros. The next match would be Hangman Page versus Pac. You're going to get SCU versus OWE, right? So there's your 3 matches that have been announced so far, and it also looks like Kylie Rae will be taking on Nyla Rose. So there's 4 matches so far. Here comes number 5. I don't know how many matches are going to be on this card, how long the event's going to be. If it's 5 hours, that's fine. We've been waiting a long time for another one. Match number 5. We get an announcement that there is a new executive vice president of All Elite Wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, the cleaner, the best bout machine, the match of the year factory, one half of the Golden Lovers, one founding member of the Elite, Kenny Omega is officially with All Elite Wrestling. Let that sink in. Let all the rumors of WWE dissipate. Let all the rumors of TNA go. Well, they weren't really there too much to believe to begin with. Let every other possibility of him staying in Japan slip through your fingers. Kenny's with his boys. Kenny's in All Elite Wrestling. That's it. It's all said and done. Signed, sealed, delivered. What it came down to was Kenny wanted to be with the Elite. Kenny wanted creative freedom. And this is such a huge opportunity for Kenny Omega. I am super happy for him. I'm excited. I'm super happy for us. Kenny being back in the States and being able to use his creativity to work with younger talent, give us new matches. Literally, guys, AEW just landed the top free agent in the world. Kenny Omega was the top free agent in the world. And yes, it's a little unfair to think that he was going to go anywhere else, but remember, Xavier Woods is his boy in WWE. He has other friends that were his boy in WWE. There was a conceivable possibility that he could have went there. So all of those notions are out the window. Kenny is here. He comes on the stage. He gives us a very gracious speech about how happy he is to be a part of All Elite Wrestling. And then we hear Judas by Fozzy. Out comes Chris Jericho in like a hybrid of the Jericho we saw at his press conference and the Jericho wearing the hats. I know Jericho loves to call it the Bowie, the reinvention, the hat. He was wearing the Clockwork Orange look. He shows up, walks on stage. We get a fantastic stare down between Omega and Jericho, and we find out that the main event, or at least one of the main events, of Double or Nothing will be Alpha versus Omega 2. And I mean, come on, what a fantastic match. The first one was really, really good. I think they have the potential to even be better. I am such a huge Chris Jericho fan. I am such a big Kenny Omega fan, I love them both. As a fan of both, this is going to be one hell of an exciting match. And overall, it's going to be one hell of an exciting pay-per-view. I mean, and we still have a lot of question marks. Who's Cody's opponent going to be? What's Brandy and Britt Baker going to be doing? Who are the best friends going to be wrestling? Will the tag team match be a triple threat? There's so many questions that still need to be answered, but so much time left to still answer them. And if there's one thing that the Elite's really good at, it's using being the Elite to drop us little hints each and every week as we start to move towards the main roster, as we start to move towards Double or Nothing. Well, and speaking of being the Elite, since we've gone a little bit further than the press conference here, we've actually gotten to see another episode of Being the Elite in the interim. In there, you've got the seating chart, so if you haven't seen it, I will put it up here. You can take a look at the Double or Nothing seating chart. I heard that 12,000 seats were already sold out of the 14,000 in the pre-sale. So by the time Gen opens up, it'll be sold out in like 10 minutes. If you haven't yet, go to the pre-sale landing page, go to general admission the second they do. There's a lot of people that bought multiple blocks of tickets to pre-sale, and there's also a big wave of activity of people that are really pissed off that people did that because Cody and the Bucks are trying to make this affordable. Front row's $200. So again, if you want your tickets, go there day one, go out and buy them. We saw a lot of scouting of the arena in this episode of Being the Elite. We saw another invasion on the indie scene from Cody and Hangman, the continuation of this MJF Salt of the Earth thing. Again, an MJF shirt came out today, literally the one I didn't buy. Sorry, you're not going to flip my boy Hangman off, and I'm not going to buy your t-shirt. I know it's storyline, but still, I've had a Twitter altercation with him. I'm done. Sorry. No shirts for you, MJF. So we saw that part of it. We saw the boys of SCU chilling there. Poor Christopher Daniels needs to see Britt Baker badly and get his teeth fixed. It seems to be a recurring problem. Before the press release, before this whole event, something we didn't see is that AEW has landed Jimmy Havoc, which is amazing. Another big talent that's batshit crazy. And speaking of batshit crazy, Joey Janela went farming this week. Joey was on the farm blind because he burnt his eyeballs so many times. He wandered around, he poked around, he tried to feed some pigs, he wound up riding, I believe, a goat. So Joey Janela continues to amuse us week after week. What is really interesting is that AEW took a shot at WWE. So part of the video was the Super Bowl. And in this clip, Nick Jackson, you get Trevor and I can't remember the others. You get the normal shtick from Trevor, right? And they're the guys, the hands, and they demand that he takes his shirt off. I actually have the shirt and I can't remember what the other name is. Anyway, they have him take his shirt off, and he's going, I don't want to take my shirt off. I paid to be here, blah, 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 blah. Total knock on WWE for making people take their shirts off at events. Nick had to take his Jacksonville Jaguars shirt off at the Super Bowl. Incredibly hilarious scene, and the episode ends with us finding out that Omega Jericho is official. That was pretty much it for Being the Elite. Nothing crazy. You got the invasion, you got the Super Bowl, you got the SCU skit, and that's it. So my overall thoughts. I think that, as I said when I started this entire episode, I am really happy for the way that AEW has started to move. You have such an incredible roster built up of talent. And they haven't even scratched the surface of what they're going to do yet. They've got about 30, 35 guys right now. A lot of guys that we know, a lot of guys we don't know. But you have to realize, right now they're building the baseline. They're going to scoop one or two big talents, and we're going to see that go right to the top of the main event card. I'm hoping they can get one big woman in, but they are doing this so well. Little by little by little, we are getting just fed little breadcrumbs leading us to Double or Nothing. It is one of, from a businessman's perspective, it is one of the smartest lead-ups to a program that I have ever seen. They're literally breadcrumbing us along in every single aspect of every single thing that they do. Even look at the way that they release merchandise, and this is probably a props to Ryan too. One shirt at a time for a superstar. Once that shirt is done, it's done. It increases value of the shirts. It makes people want to go out and buy it while they have the opportunity to. They do one shirt a week on Mondays to keep people engaged and coming back to pro wrestling tees and looking for what's at AEW. They're launching one talent a week on Being the Elite. They're launching one talent a week on Double or Nothing, which is the other show that's on Cody's channel. They are giving us little hints and just enough to keep us incredibly interested to the fact that we want more. It's like the bag of potato chips, right? They just keep throwing one at us every couple days. And every couple days, like, God, I want more potato chips, right? Bet you can't have just one. I like that reference, huh? They keep doing that to us little by little, and it's incredibly genius. It's incredibly smart. It is one of the most well-orchestrated marketing programs that's not actually a marketing program that I have ever seen. I'm in influencer marketing. I've been in digital marketing for 14 years. I have seen successful marketing strategies built. As a professional wrestling fan, as a professional period, I'm incredibly impressed with what Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Tony Khan have done. They've also layered Chris Jericho in to be the mouthpiece, the asshole, the guy who says the things that no one else wants to say. That even is brilliant. At the end of the day, guys, we are at the dawn, and I don't care what anybody says. We are at the dawn of the next major wrestling company, because Cody and the Bucks understand something. Cody and the Bucks understand that if you connect with the people, you win. And all of these little events that they're going to, all the hands they're shaking, all the autographs they're signing, all the t-shirts they're selling, all the individual talent from individual promotions that they're bringing in, they're winning over fans step by step by step. And in doing so, what they're doing is they're taking the casual fan, they're taking the hardcore fan, and they're building out a large aggregate of people that will come and watch AEW wrestling. And right now, you're probably looking at hundreds of thousands of people that would already watch it. And I can prove that. Go look at the hashtag trends of how many people talk about each of those topics. Right now, their pool is in the 100,000s. You put that on TBS, you put that on Turner, and that hundreds of thousands will quickly turn into millions as people turn to their friends and say, hey, wrestling is cool again. Watch it on AEW. So that's it, folks. We're done here on this episode of the 2 Count. Great to talk the rally with you. I would love to hear your thoughts on anything that I said. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the rally. I ask you to please, once again, like this video, turn your notifications on, subscribe to the channel. It is such a pleasure to talk to you guys. I would love the opportunity to do so on a weekly basis, so we'd love to have you guys kick out with us. Until next time, leave your thoughts in the comments below. I bid y'all guys a good night, and remember, all elite, all elite. You have yourselves a great night.